Hi everybody, welcome to my channel. My name is Codi Smith, and today I'm going to talk to you about consistency. So I've been asked so many times, Codi, how do I stay consistent? Do you have any tips for me to be consistent? And the truth is, we need to be consistent with everything in our life. It could be for your business. It could be for your mindset. It could be being consistent in your diet. It could be being consistent with anything, right? So I'm going to put this as simple as possible for you right now. So being inconsistent, you could just think of it as not being in alignment. And then when you are consistent, you can think of it as being in alignment. And I'm going to tell you the reasons for this in just a few minutes. But one of the biggest things is that inconsistency is just you not being able to meet your needs and kind of skimming over them and then throwing yourself out of alignment and out of balance with who you are and what it is that you deeply desire. And we do this for a few different reasons. One of the biggest reasons is that we live in a society that values the hustle. And so many people out there are hustle driven, this masculine energy driven hustle type of society that we live in values this type of approach to life. So we're taught that you have to work hard at everything. Rather, this is in your career, work hard at your diet, work hard at your mindset, work hard at anything. It could be literally anything. But now we're moving into more of a paradigm where it's not so much about working hard and forcefully pushing through, and it's more about getting into alignment. And I know alignment can sound a little bit woo-woo for some, but it really, bear with me here, it really is really simple. Once you understand just the key basics of it, you're like, oh my gosh, I guess I have been doing this. So the very first, I want to talk about what makes us fall off the wagon of being consistent first, because we all know the feeling of feeling amazing, like everything's just flowing, we're doing great, we're pumping out work, we're getting our stuff done, everything's just lining up perfectly for us. And then all of a sudden, what happens? We crash into this wall, we run into a burnout, absolute exhaustion, sink into this idea of that we don't know what we're doing anymore. And then we fall into number one. We fall off the wagon with number one, which is that we start worrying and we start panicking that what we're doing is not going to work out. And that what we're doing might be the wrong thing, and we start second guessing ourselves, and then we start really getting into that energy, and it blocks us from being in that flow or that alignment / consistency. So, and this happens to literally all of us. Now, it happens to different people more frequently, and it happens a lot less for others, but that's just because they have been conscious of of their needs and when these things have arisen, so they can get back into alignment. That's all this is about, is that we keep getting back into alignment all the time. And the way that we find our alignment is based off of our desires, our heart desires. So what is it that you desire at a heartfelt level? And this might take a little bit of effort and a little bit of work, a little bit of work to really tap in, get yourself out of your mind and into your heart and your body, and really figure out what it is that you desire and why. So a lot of the time we're creating from this space of our ego and being up in our minds, and we're not really going after the things that we want in life from that heart-centered place. And a lot of it is that masculine or an even ego-driven place. And I want to point out that ego is not a bad thing. Ego is actually just our individualized selves. So when we live in this physical world, we all are one. We're all connected. But at the same time, here in this physical world, we have to take on an ego so that we can have that individualized self, so we can have that individualized experience, and so that we can have our own personal desires, so that our soul can learn and grow and expand here on this earth plane. And that's basically why we have the ego, which is also kind of like a personality, you know? And so it's not a bad thing. Ego is not a bad thing, but it's not the place where we want to necessarily be creating from or co-creating from. So when we're co-creating, it's about getting into alignment with our pure self. A lot of people might call this the higher self, but I like to call it the pure self. It kind of takes away that idea that there's a self that's above you and it's just more pure, and it has that clarity. It has that pureness to it. And when we can really tap into that and stay more on that path of our pure self, then that is when we see the most consistency, you know? But when we fall off of that path and we start to worry and we start having all this anxiety and panic and second guessing, and maybe what I decided to do was just a joke and I shouldn't have even tried, and you know, that downward spiral that can be very easy to fall into. The sooner that you catch yourself there and ask yourself and say, what do I want? What do I need? But first tap into your heart before you ask this. And when that desire bubbles up to the surface, then you take action on that thing. So that is number one. We start worrying and panicking, and that takes us off of that wagon. It takes us off of the consistency wagon or the alignment wagon, and it like propels us into this disalignment or this unaligned place where we're like, oh, panicking and wondering what the heck's going on and feeling all out of sorts and out of place. And if you're feeling out of place and out of sorts, it's because you're not in alignment with your purest self. Okay, so when we try, number two, when we try to force ourselves to get something done, like I said, we live in this masculine-driven society that values hard work and working yourself to the bone and working yourself to death, and allows very little time for that alignment to happen, because we're always on the go. We're always on to the next thing. We're around so much different stimulation. We are around cell phones and the news, which I highly recommend that if you watch that you stop, because it's just a bunch of propaganda, right? And it's just a bunch of negativity that's going to seep into your subconscious mind and sabotage your consistency, because it's fear-based. And when you're in alignment, you're not working from a place of fear, you're working from a place of love and expansion. And you can literally feel the difference between fear, which feels really small and restrictive, and love and expansion, which feels very expanded. It's like it could just go on and on and on, and you feel super in flow. That's when you're the most intuitive. That's when the best ideas come to you. That's when the money comes to you. That's when miracles happen. All of that comes from the aligned sky, right? So the alignment sky. But what I was getting to is that when we're forcing ourselves to do something because we think we have to do something or that we should be doing something, it comes from a place of straight willpower and straight that masculine drive, and it completely throws us off of our alignment. So when we're trying to force things, when you can even see this in the culture now, we have so many people who have really, really low adrenals. Adrenal fatigue is becoming more and more popular, which is causing more dis-ease to happen because the adrenals are super important. But the more that we're in that fight or flight mode or that masculine driven mode, and we don't take the time to get back into alignment, we're going to stay off that wagon. We're going to be falling off that wagon over and over and over again. So I want to point out that forcing something to happen also comes from a place of fear and lack. So ask yourself next time that you fall into this, when you're trying to get something done and you feel like you have to force it out, and that, you know, it has to be done now and there's a specific way to do it. Ask yourself, what would happen if you weren't going to do that? What are you worried about that could happen if you didn't do the thing that you think you're supposed to do that exact way, and forcing yourself through it? And I'm going to tell you, us mothers, especially in stay-at-home moms, and if you're a highly sensitive person that is a parent, it's like a whole different ballgame, because society expects us mothers to always be on the ball, to always have that drive to always get something done. And so it puts a lot of us females and males, it's important for you guys to tap into this alignment as well, but I'm speaking to the females right now just real quick. When we don't take care of ourselves and we don't embrace that goddess that we are, truly, then we start to get really defensive, and we don't really, how do I want to word this? It's like we're always on guard and we're pushing ourselves to do all these things just to keep our head above water, when we have these children to take care of, you know, sports and making dinner every night, making sure the house is clean. Like, you're always on overdrive and we're forcing everything to be done. Well, what's going to happen if the dishes don't get done? You know what I mean? So it's not always going to be that things have to be done. It's okay to take a break sometimes and really tap in and ask yourself where this fear is showing up in your life when you are falling off this wagon. And so the third one is when we're not tuned into our heart's desires and what we truly, truly want to create. The heart is like the portal to our soul. So when we're disconnected from that space and we're creating from the mind, we're not listening to our inner guidance. And our inner guidance can be different for every person, but I think there's some universal things as well. Our bodies, for example, when we're not in alignment and we're forcing and we're in that masculine energy, you can use your body as a tool. If your body is tense, if your muscles and your shoulders are tense, if your jaw is tense, if your face is tense, notice it and release it, because it's a clear sign that you are not in alignment and you are forcing yourself against yourself. You're forcing yourself to do things against your true, purest desires. And that's why you feel that tension. And when you have that tension in your body, what it does is it chokes off source energy to come through and to really flow through our bodies, which causes dis-ease. If we are cutting off our connection to source energy, we are leading ourselves into and setting ourselves up for physical dis-ease, because it all starts on a spiritual, mental, emotional level, and then it manifests into the physical, because the physical is the most dense. And the longer that we hold that tension and hold all of this unaligned energy, this chaotic energy in our bodies, the more that our cells are becoming damaged over and over and over again. So we need to start listening to our guidance. The more that we can listen to our body, when we start to feel that tension and we tap in and we say, okay, what's this about? We relax it, and then we're like, am I following my heart's desire? No? Okay. What does the heart want? What steps should I take from this space of the heart-centered space so that I can move forward where I know that I'm going to be in alignment when I'm taking this action? And I have a lot of entrepreneur friends, and a lot of them have even said, you know, that one of their biggest struggles is consistency. And I totally understand that, because when we're not in alignment with ourselves, you're constantly trying to get things done. In an entrepreneur world, you feel like you have a million things to do already, and that there's like a certain way to do everything. But the truth is that when we back up and we get into alignment with ourselves, and we start to tap in and really listen to our body, use it as the tool that it is, and take action after we figure out what the issue is, and then we figure out what we really desire from that heart place and take action there, that's when we get back into flow. So it's just one of those things that a lot of us, it's going to take some time to really reprogram our ways, you know, because we've been doing things from this certain masculine way for so long, but the paradigm is now shifting, and you're going to start to see more of this feminine energy coming in where it's not about working hard. And some people will look at you like you're crazy when you're like, oh, no, I don't actually work hard. I just get aligned. They're going to be like, what? What do you mean? Oh, you're not using your willpower to stay on your diet or to quit smoking or to quit drinking. You're just getting in alignment. That's all you're doing. You sound crazy, right? You're going to have people that might say things like that, but that's okay. Just stay your course and stay true to yourself and stay true to you, what you know to be true. Because the truth is, guys, everybody has an opinion and everybody wants to give it out. So it's up to you to decide if that person has space inside of your mind and your heart to change and alter your beliefs around things. So the main tips that I have for you is to notice when you're out of alignment based on tuning into your body. So tune into your body. How is it feeling? Is it feeling tense or is it feeling soft? And when you're not in alignment because your body is really tense or you're carrying some extra tension around anywhere, figure out where you're not in alignment, and then ask your heart what it is that you need to be doing. Sometimes it's not even in alignment. When you ask your heart something, sometimes it'll tell you to do things that have nothing to do with the goal. So let's say, for example, that you are wanting to write out your sales page, or we'll just use that for an example. Say you're trying to get your sales page done and it's not working out. You're out of alignment and you ask your heart and you say, so what is it that I need to do now? And it says, go take a bath or go take a jog. You know, you might be like, are you sure? But your job is to trust it, because your heart will always bring you back into alignment every single time. And so the next thing is to surrender to the present moment. When we feel out of alignment, a lot of the reason for this is because we are not in the present moment. We're in our minds. We're thinking about what we need to do tomorrow. We're thinking about our friends, our cat, our kids, our husband, our wives, all the bills we have to pay, whatever, all the time. And when we're doing that, we're leaking our energy out to every one of those little places. And so in order to be in alignment, we have to embody all of our energy and call that energy back to us. And so surrender to the present moment. Really be here now, and you're going to see the change start to take place. Guaranteed. And the last thing is to go out and do something that's pleasurable for you and add play into your life. I know for me, that's a hard one, and I work on it every single day to go and find play, because I have always grown up to be that serious type of person that's always like really focused on what I need to do. And so for me to bring play into my life, it has been quite the challenge. But I'm going to tell you something. When you do surrender and you bring play and pleasure into your life, that is when all the goodness happens. And you will not miss it. I guarantee it. I guarantee it. Try it out and you'll know for a fact that that is what is going to help you get and stay into alignment. So the last thing to stay in alignment as best as possible is just to be conscious and aware of what's going on, how you're feeling, and know that everything that we manifest is based on how we are feeling. So tap into your feelings, tap into that heart space, get back into alignment with your purest self, and then take action from that space. I hope this was helpful for you, and that you guys have an absolute beautiful day today, and we'll talk to you guys later. Bye.